Hello, my name is Utman Adelan, and I am the group leader for Tutorial 2 Group 2. These are my teammates, Emmanuel, Okwemi, and Vatsa. Please introduce yourself.
Yeah, I am Emmanuel Opeyemi Adigun, and I go with my student ID 230-18604.
Hello, my name is Vatsala Shivkumar Thakkar. My student ID is 230177751.
Okay, our topic is greenwashing in the UK consumer market. A systematic literature review with a focus on the food and the beauty sectors. So today we'll be presenting the key elements of a report prepared for government on how to legislate against greenwashing with a focus on its harmful impact in the UK's food and beauty industries. Now, the executive summary. This report investigates the rising phenomenon of greenwashing, which is the practices where companies mislead their consumers about their environmental practices or the sustainability of their products. Now, our focus is specifically on the UK's food and beauty sectors, where greenwashing is especially prevalent. Think of food packaged in green to imply health benefits or skincare items boasting vague statistics like 70% of 50 people looked younger. These are simple tactics, but they are deeply misleading. So, to explore this, we used secondary research, collecting data from 40 peer-reviewed journal articles and industry reports, published between the year 2020 and 2025. And our analysis was guided by two key frameworks, which are the stakeholder theory and the theory of planned behavior. And the stakeholder theory, this examines ethical responsibilities of businesses. And the theory of planned behavior, it helps explain how consumer decisions are influenced by their beliefs and perceptions. So, through thematic analysis, we identified 10 through thematic analysis, we identified the 10 core themes, which includes the consumer perception, brand trust, regulatory gaps, green marketing strategies, CSR, opportunities, injections, and many more. And ultimately, this study calls for stronger regulation, sector-specific benchmarks, and greater consumer education to promote genuine sustainability and also protect public trust. Now, for the introduction, greenwashing is no longer just a fringe issue, a minor issue. It's become a central concern in modern marketing. With environmental consciousness on the rise, many brands now strategically exploit green claims to appeal to consumers because their practices are ethical, but because it sells, not because the prices are ethical, but because it sells. This is particularly rampant in food marketing, where we see green use, farm imagery or health-related buzzwords, which are used to imply environmental or health benefits that aren't substantiated. And the UK is not immune. A report by Duncan and Topless 2022 shows that 70% of consumers no longer trust environmental claims, and the UK government found that only 40% of the green claims online were actually accurate. In a time when both climate urgency and consumer health consciousness are increasing, this kind of deceptive marketing not only misleads the public, but it also threatens meaningful progress in sustainability. For the rationale and the research approach. So now rationale. So why is this topic important? It is important because greenwashing is more than marketing fluff. It's actually harms consumers, businesses, and the whole planet as a whole. And with rising demand for sustainable products, many businesses are tempted to use green branding or eco labels without making any meaningful environmental improvements. And this leads to erosion of trust, unfair market advantage, and delays in real sustainability innovation. So now, in the food and business sectors in particular, greenwashing exploits vulnerable consumers, including those seeking healthier diets or chemical-free skincare, by appealing to their values but without accountability. Now, Singh and Manohara 2024 argues that tactics distorts market competition and weaken genuine environmental efforts. The concern is not just ethical, it's economic and environmental. There are some notes which are attached to this slide, which might not come up in the video. So those are the points I'm trying to explain. So now, that is why our study set out to examine greenwashing not only as a marketing strategy, but as a systematic problem, requiring policy intervention. Now, for the research approach, to explore this issue, we conducted a systematic literature review, focusing on academic research, industry reports, and government guidelines. including the UK's Competition Markets Authority CMA Green Claim Codes. We also performed content analysis how environmental environmental claims are used in advertising, looking at language, symbols, and the tactics deployed. Now, this research was grounded in two theoretical methods. We have one, the stakeholder theory, which underscores the ethical obligation businesses have not only to shareholders, but to customers, to employees, and also the environment. Now, two, the theory of planned behavior. This helps us understand how misleading green claim influence consumer beliefs, intentions, and ultimately their actions. So altogether, these frameworks help us understand that not only what greenwashing looks like, but why it works and how to stop it. Manuel.
Yeah, so now we are going to move to the data collection process. Yeah, so we conducted a systematic literature review guided by the Prisma framework. So our primary source was the Web of Science core collection, which is chosen for its reliability management and organizational research. Using keywords like greenwashing, greenwashed, and greenwashes, we search for studies published between 2020 and 2025. The initial search returned 448 articles. To refine the result, we applied 3 filtering steps. The first step, we excluded duplicates and articles outside our focus, removing 205 papers. Secondly, we eliminated articles that didn't discuss greenwashing in relation to stakeholders, removing another 102. Finally, we manually reviewed titles and abstracts, and also full text relevance, which narrowed our focus to 22 core articles. So now, to strengthen our data set, we also included 18 recent articles from Scopus and Google Scholar, focusing on highly cited and emerging research, bringing our final pool to 40 peer-reviewed articles. So now I'm going to move to the data analysis method. So now for our data analysis method, we used the thematic analysis following the 6-step process outlined by Braun and Clark in 2016. Articles were analyzed for recurring patterns and categorized into key themes based on their contribution to the understanding of greenwashing in business, marketing, sustainability, and ethics literature. Now, I will share you the 10 key themes which we uncovered. Now we have the first theme, which is theme 1. Theme 1 is consumer perception. Studies consistently shows that greenwashing damages how consumers perceive brands. Misleading claims, even the partially true ones, and it creates skepticism and reduce brand loyalty. When consumers are skeptical, it definitely reduce the brand loyalty. Theme 2 is the brand trust. Trust is often the first casualty. Deceptive environmental claims undermines consumer confidence and reduce purchase intentions. Consumers are increasingly aware and ready to penalize brand for greenwashing. Theme 3, which is the regulatory and ethical concerns. A major issue is the lack of regulation. Scholars argue that without clear guidelines and enforcement mechanisms, greenwashing will continue to thrive. There's an urgent need for global standard and legal benchmarks. Theme 4 We have the green marketing strategies and authenticity. Many companies use vague language, green imagery, and selective disclosure to appear sustainable, while authentic green marketing builds loyalty. Misleading tactics do the opposite, reinforcing a fine line between promotion and deception. Team 5, which is CSR and corporate reputation greenwashing. And CSR and corporate reputation. Now, greenwashing threatens the integrity of corporate social responsibility, which is the CSR. Many companies use CSR. Many companies use corporate social responsibility, which is the CSR report, or sustainability claims, more as a PR tool than uh, than evidence of real impact, leading to reputational risk and ethical concerns. Team 6, which is the purchase intention and green behavior. There's a direct link between perceived authenticity and purchase behavior. When consumers suspect greenwashing, their intention to buy decreases. Conflicting messages create confusion and erode brand uh, equity. Team 7 is detection and consumer literacy. Several studies shows that consumers education is the key. When consumers are informed and aware, they are more likely to detect greenwashing and make better choices. Literacy campaigns were found to reduce the influence of deceptive claims. Team 8, which is the industry-specific insight. Greenwashing tactics vary across sectors. For example, fashion and cosmetics often use green labels and minimal packaging, while food products use natured theme imagery. This suggests that sector-specific regulations are obviously needed. Team 9, which is the engagement. Stakeholders, including NGO regulators, employees, and consumers, play a very crucial role. Effective engagement and ethical leadership can hold companies accountable. The literature urges companies to involve stakeholders in their sustainability efforts meaningfully. Team 10, which is our last team, education and literacy interventions. Finally, we found that long-term solutions lie in education. Teaching consumers how to evaluate green claims critically is essential to fighting greenwashing and promoting transparency. Thank you so much. That's all. I'm quoting from where I stopped.
Conclusion. This is a thematic analysis of 40 peer review studied has unmuted manufactured insights into the phenomenon of greenwashing across various industries, with particular emphasis on consumer perception, brand trust, regularity, integrity, marketing authenticity, corporate social responsibility (CSR), purchase intention, literacy in interpretations, and stakeholder engagement. Framing the findings through the underlying theories of the theory plant behavior (TPP), this report concludes that attitudes, subjective norms, and perceived behavioral control deeply influenced by green marketing and greenwashing practices. Positive attitude towards green brands are undermined when consumers detect greenwashing, which eventually lead to reduced intention to engage in pro-environmental consumptions. Furthermore, subjective norms shaped by peers, social media, and social values are critical, especially when greenwashing becomes apparent. This will disprove the collective trust and consumer social pressure. to support sustainable brand. Lastly, perceived behavioral control, especially when consumers feel empowered to make sustainable choices, is weakened by defective green claims with complicating information of lack of transparency, which are found to demonstrate their actual behavior to act sustainably. From a stakeholder theory perspective, greenwashing challenges the ethical and strategic obligations of firms toward multiple stakeholders, including consumers, regulators, investors, NGOs, and society at large. Firms engaging in greenwashing compromise and trust legitimacy, which is not only with consumers but also with regulatory bodies and advisory groups, as identified in studies such as Fizon Visions, established in 2021 and Put established in 2021. Stakeholder pressure or the lack thereof plays a key role in motivating either authentic sustainability efforts or disruptive practices. The findings highlighted the genuine stakeholder engagement and accountability are crucial in mitigating greenwashing, the foster long-term brand equity and corporate reputation. In summary, while green marketing drive positive environmental behavior and brand outcomes, its miscue through greenwashing creates consumer spectrums which develops trust and undermines sustainability goals by challenging both individual behavior identification as per TPB and stakeholder responsible as per stakeholder theory. Now we can move on recommendations. Based on the above analysis, we would urge the government to give attention to the following recommendations. Yeah. First, enhance the transparency through third-party certification. Government should encourage organizations to adopt verified eco-labels and certifications to authenticate their environmental claims. This will boost preserved behavioral control for consumers in line with the firm's ethical stakeholder expectations. Second, strengthen regulatory frameworks. Government policymakers should establish clear guidelines and penalties for greenwashing practices. For instance, mandatory disclosures and advertising standards could reduce the prevalence of descriptive claims and restore trust in sustainability messaging. Third, we advocate focus consumer education and literacy campaigners, as shown in the studies like Fenders established in 2020. Consumers benefit from innovations that improve their ability to detect greenwashing. Educational initiatives should be embedded in both marketing cruciata and public awareness campaigns. Fourth, adopt stakeholder uh, critic sustainability strategies. Firms must engage stakeholders, including employees, consumers, NGOs, and regulators to shape sustainability policies. This particular approach will ensure accountability and reduce greenwashing risk. Fifth, government should aim for ethical organizational culture. Companies should initiate a culture authentic marketing and a CSR integration across departments. For instance, initial audits, stakeholders' feedback loops, and sustainability KPIs should be employed to guide decision making. Sixth, government should promote digital accountability. Social media platforms and e-commerce sites must flag up misleading green claims using AI-driven audits and user reporting systems. This will further empower consumer oversight and behavioral control. This is from my side. Thank you so much.
Yes, so I'm trying to summarize everything you just said. It means that green marketing can be a force, for good. But when abused through greenwashing, it corrodes trust, it manipulates behavior and undermines sustainability. And with strong legislation, education and stakeholder alignment, we can actually protect consumers, reward ethical business and support genuine environmental progress. So These are the references we collected, which are embedded in this, in about 4 slides in total. So, and I would like to highlight that initially we were supposed to be 4 in the group, but our fourth member got a sponsorship cancelled, which reduced the number to 3. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.